Hi people, moin even Bakirgin as always under as usual. Yeah, I'm going to briefly cover Lionel Messi, the famous Argentinian football player, my beloved Argentina, my beloved national football team of Argentina, which I love so much. And yeah, Lionel Messi, known as the GOAT abbreviated, the greatest of all time. Of course, in my opinion, that's hopelessly overblown, but yeah, you know, I just leave people in their in their level of exaggeration. Either way, he was born on June the 24th, 1987 in Rosario, Argentina. Time of birth is confirmed by me. He was born at 5:43 a.m. Again, before I begin, once again, I need to lay emphasis on the following, okay, guys? In general, you need to remember it is so peculiar. The so called best of people, the most talented people, are born when the sun either around sunrise or when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, so around the ascendant or around mid-heaven. Yours truly himself, okay, so me, I was also born an hour and 25 minutes, so 5 minutes shy of an hour and a half, around mid-heaven when the sun was at its highest point in the sky. I was born at 1:25, so 1 hour and 25 minutes away from 12 p.m. when mid-heaven was at its strongest, so to speak. So yeah, and adversely, I've noticed the most deceptive of people and untrustworthy of people, people that are prone to criminal behavior, were born um, around sunset. So the opposite, when the sun is setting and when nighttime sets in. And the most unstable of people mentally, as well as just outright psychopaths and people that are insane, were born around midnight. Literally, as in born around 12 a.m., around that time. So yeah, let's dive right in. I'm gonna try to keep this as short as possible. Okay. Yeah, the ascendant was in Gemini when Messi was born. 0 degrees, nice and strong degree. It stands for a high level of accuracy, very skilled, etc. And again, I need to point out. Look at this. See, another cluster. I've already said this in my prior videos what a cluster of planets means, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. Okay, watch more of my astrology videos in which I cover people if you want to know what I'm referring to. Now, the moon in Gemini, 11 degrees in Gemini, Venus 16 degrees in Gemini, the pot of fortune 21 degrees in Gemini, and Chiron 23 degrees in Gemini, all of them neatly stacked up against each other. The moon is the moon is conjunct everything here with the exception of Chiron, and adversely also the case. Chiron is conjunct everything except the moon, and Venus and the pot of fortune they're conjunct everything, honestly. So yeah, the moon there, Venus there, the part of fortune there, and Chiron there all stand for tremendous skill in flexibility, agility, as in think of dexterity, okay? Like these typical video games in which you have stats and you've got strength, power, dexterity. So how agile, how flexible someone is in nature. Um, it's also most likely the reason why Messi is, generally speaking, compared to the average person, more short stacked, as in he's shorter and he doesn't weigh all too much because of the Gemini influence. If it was the opposite, then he would be, on the bigger end. If it was Sagittarius, and he would definitely be not obese, obviously, but he would be more big boned. He would be of a sturdier nature. That's simply something people need to keep in mind. Okay, since the first house one of the things the first house deals with is your physical body. So yeah, and this also immediately indicates how quick and how fast and how naturally versatile physically Lionel is. Messi is literally like, think of, on a scale of 0 to 10, Messi's level of dexterity is like 20. He's twice as dexterous as the average person, more even. That's why the pot of fortune is also there. So yeah, I don't need to say anything about that. People that know who he is know what I'm referring to. For the rest, you've got the sun in Cancer in the second house. And immediately I also need to point out to the fact that the sun is, I'm familiar with this degree. The sun is also opposed Neptune, and Neptune is very weak. Neptune is in an afflicted sign, Capricorn, and it's going retrograde in the 8th house. This stands for financial issues, honestly. The sun here being conjunct the second house and everything, and also being Let me see. No, it's not conjunct the power of fortune. The sun here in a strong position. The sun is neutral in Cancer, but the fact that it's conjunct the second house, yeah, makes it relatively strong. Um, and not to mention the fact that the sun is trine Pluto and trine midheaven, which form a grand trine, stands for tremendous career-based successes. Be that as it may, it stands for financial issues. It stands for the fact that, Messi does very well for himself financially, but at the same time, there there are, or there might be over the course of his life, financial issues in the sense of litigation due to, for example, not paying his taxes on time or something like that, or making a deal of some sort that will not that he will unjustly try to bail himself out of, or not living up to the agreement of his contract regarding a deal he made with a sponsor, something along those lines. You get the gist, okay? Financial issues, financial issues. Not that Messi is outright dishonest, but again, self-interest is first when it comes to wealth, and there will be financial issues as a result thereof. So think of being a little too self-centered. Um, while I'm on the sun, I'm going to treat Pluto and midheaven right away. Like I already said, those three are connected. That's why you're seeing a huge triangle here. Although the last line, the software doesn't catch it, but it is trine. Both Pluto and midheaven. Pluto is in Scorpio in the fifth house, going retrograde, stands for a tremendously strong drive towards sports in his specific case. Um, but the fact that it's going retrograde stands for reliancy and dependency. It means that for all Messi's skill and all of his brilliance and greatness, Messi is still reliant and dependent on proper guidance. He needs proper guidance to bring out the best in him. Gemini is also a testament to that, the strong Gemini influence. Messi is a Gemini based on all of this. Strongest influence by far is Gemini. Very airy, very flexible, very agile, just like the wind. Exceptionally unreal, almost on borderline unrealistically agile. Not to mention the ascendant also being in Gemini. Yeah, but in any case, it simply stands for the fact that he still needs direction. His overall performance is substantially reliant on proper guidance and direction. Without that, there are issues in performing at the top level. Mercury in Cancer going retrograde also says the same thing and are very similar. And Mercury is also trine midheaven. Tremendous career-based successes, etc. Focus is on career, but it's afflicted, which stands for the fact that Messi, generally speaking, he's an emotional kind of guy. He doesn't really think using logic. He uses his emotions in his decisions. And it also stands for difficulties in the home, essentially. Difficulties at a household level, which leads to frustrations. That's also what Mars says. That's why, again, Mars is in Cancer. And Mars is in a weak zodiac sign, in a weak house. Again, it only further says to attest to what I'm saying, to what I said earlier. Okay, Mercury is also not the best in the house of Taurus. It's at best neutral. It stands for issues regarding money, honestly, that will lead to the aforementioned, like I said, with the sun, financial mishaps or a financial mishap. Same thing with Lilith. Lilith is at its strongest here, but it's at its weakest in this house, or one of the weakest signs it can be in. The houses it can be in is this house. It's an earth sign. So Lilith stands for the same thing, okay, but it stands for the fact that it's more of a hidden emotion, a hidden desire for domestic stability and overall financial stability and security, but it has manifested, or will manifest in a negative manner, and it's something that will happen behind the scenes. It's not something that will be publicized or similar. At the very least, not publicized extensively. I already said what Pluto stands for. Okay, Pluto is at its strongest in Scorpio. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, and it's conjunct the sixth house, also in Scorpio. In the fifth house, in this context, it specifically stands for sports. And it stands for a tremendously strong drive to be successful in sports. And again, it's trine midheaven, only adds more fuel to the so-called fire. But like I said, the fact that it's going retrograde stands for a reliancy or dependency. Okay, It sometimes even stands for stubbornness, as in an unwillingness to change, which causes problems, like being bullheaded or pig-headed. And the last four planets now: Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius going retrograde, and in Libra's house. Both are afflicted. Um, both of them stand for the fact that there are issues in dealing with people, specifically people being close to him and whatnot. And it also stands for the fact that, generally speaking, the people he meets are purely people that are of a foreign nature, people that are foreign to him. It simply stands for the fact that Messi has difficulty getting along with people close to him, like I said. Okay, friends, family, loved ones, stuff like that. And for example, his teammates in his respective career, people that he has to work with in his respective profession. And it's simply the fact that it's Sagittarius stands for the fact that these people are of a foreign nature in general. His colleagues are primarily foreigners, not foreigners based on nationality, but foreign as in foreign to him, non-native to him in relation to his day-to-day life. And they're not people that he sees on a day-to-day basis in that way. They're not day-to-day in nature. And yeah, as you can tell, all of this, it's opposed, let me see, it's opposed to Pot of Fortune. It's opposed to a good deal of this cluster, honestly. It's opposed, Saturn and Uranus are opposed everything from the moon to all the way to the sun, which stands for the fact that there are, like I said, the difficulties in getting along with the aforementioned people. It essentially hampers his success. It undermines his success a little. And yeah, that's all. It undermines his success at best by a moderate to above average level. So if he was able to get along better with these people, then yeah, it would only boost his success more. But there is, like, let's just say there's an isolationist mentality, a mentality to literally do things on his own, and or to be forced to do things on his own, due to, for example, unrealistic expectations that people have on him, people putting him on a pedestal, as in you can handle things by yourself, when for all his skill he's still only one man, and he cannot carry everything on his own shoulder, on his shoulders alone. I already treated Neptune, and last but not least, Jupiter in Aries in the 11th house stands for a lot of energy and a lot of aggression thrown into expectations. This doesn't really stand for the public, it stands for expectations primarily. But all of that energy is also channeled, is also visible to the public. And the Jupiter is negatively aspected to Mars and Lilith. Again, only stand for more frustration. Frustrations with himself, when, for example, his expectations from himself and others by proxy are not met or similar. It is positively aspected to thingy though, to Uranus, to Saturn, and to the Pot of Fortune and Chiron. And let me see, yeah, the Pot of Fortune and Chiron, which stands for the fact that that energy does work in harmony, in tandem with that level of aggression, all of that energy thrown into trying to realize his wishes and dreams. It does go well together with his level of physical versatility and agility and flexibility. And yeah, that's about it. Okay, like I said, on the negative side, it simply failure results in frustration, and it results in a loss of self-confidence. Success simply leads to only more flexibility and agility, and more honors and happiness and joy for him. Okay, but a lot of energy is thrown into his into realizing his hopes, wishes, and dreams. So there you go. That's essentially it. Midheaven is in Pisces. Again, it simply stands for sensitivity, as in using emotion to realize his wishes and dreams. I don't need to treat the North and the South Node. It doesn't really matter. Not in this case. It doesn't say anything special. And yeah, what else can I say? Nothing really. For people that know who Lionel Messi is and people that actually watch football, I don't need to say anything. Okay, you guys can see this for yourself. This is why Messi is so skilled to the point where he's called the GOAT. The devastating level of versatility and flexibility. Messi is literally like the wind, and that's how Messi can literally dribble past fucking an entire football team in a matter of speaking. Literally fast. I mean, a true Argentinian. Okay, Argentines by default, their properties are heavily aerial. That's why they're the albiceleste, the sky blue. All of these are spiritual properties. Okay, Argentinian players by default, their strengths are speed at a global level, ridiculous levels of speed. The drawback, though, is the lightness. Okay, the element air by default. Air is fast, wind is super fast. Nothing's faster than the wind, so to speak. But the drawback is the wind has no mass, it has no weight, it's light, super light like a feather, even lighter than a feather. And with Messi, it's the same thing. Messi is like super fast, like ultra fast, 10 times faster than the average person, like superhumanly fast. But the drawback is that, again, Messi is also light. Messi lacks physical strength, he lacks physical sturdiness. Okay, tackle Messi and Messi can't really do anything. Manhandle Messi physically, and to the point where you wedge him into a corner, take away his ability to move around, and you completely incapacitate him regarding his profession. You incapacitate him on the pitch. You neutralize his ability to. You neutralize his strength that he uses to get by, and that's the end of it. But again, we all have our strengths and weaknesses. So yeah, that's it. See you guys later. Bye.